him at the bar when it said tears fled the head. I'm waiting, I guess she tweet, I guess she confess. She thinking less, not drinking less. Bathroom sex, best it gets, spontaneous. Our stereotype put to rest tonight. Imagine, believe, and achieve, it works. Skyline as a rise like fireworks.
Boom. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of After the Storm. Of course, I'm your host, Matt Clark. And sorry, trying to get a little comfortable here. Thunderfall tonight in a back-to-back against the Orlando Magic on the road. The Thunder are now 2-3 in back-to-backs. It just happens. I mean, we did what we could. It was just kind of frustrating a little bit to me because I kind of knew this was going to happen. I talked about this today on the Unpopular Hour when we gave the keys to the game and what the Thunder needed to do. And part of it was how the Thunder were going to react because we scored 150 points last night, which was just ridiculous. So clearly a letdown was going to come. We are the youngest team in the NBA. And so the Thunder fall now to 16-22. Orlando Magic are now 14-24. And Banchero was just magnificent tonight. He's a grown man. I mean, that's what he is. He's a grown man. And, he's not necessarily a great three-point shooter, but he hit every shot tonight. Every time the Thunder tried to make a run, he came back and shut us down. I'm going to take my hat off to him, and he was definitely worth being the number one overall pick. And my guy Drew Hinthorn of HuskerDrewPicks.com called that and said, yeah, he's the man, and that's who you should draft. So anyway, the Thunder started out tonight. Let me just go ahead and give you my picks of the keys to the game. Here are my keys to the game because, thinking about it, I'm like, we have to be really careful on this because of the simple fact that we had won last night and we won so easily and everybody played so well and we were overwhelmingly dominant against one of the top two best teams in the country or in the NBA, which is obviously the Boston Celtics. And we just played absolutely out of our minds last night. And clearly a letdown was going to be. So here are my keys to the game. One, we need to get off to a good start. Like I say, that's just something we have to do every quarter if we're going to compete. Take care of the basketball, because we did last night. Take care of the basketball today. Limit the open looks by them, which we did not. And then forget about how well you played last night. I'm talking about individually the guys, how well. I was killing them last night because you remember they had to get on a plane right after the game last night and fly to Orlando, and plus you lose an hour right away because remember it's an hour difference there, so you lose an hour right there. But that being said, I mean, it's not like this is your first rodeo. I mean, unless you're a rookie and this is the first time you've done it, then fine, but they have done this before, so it's not like, back in the day when we played, it was just horrible because, I mean, a lot of times you arrive at a city, they don't have the luxuries that we have now. It's just not the private planes. It's a total different deal, the way that these guys are pampered now. But that being said, the Thunder started out with SGA, Josh Giddey, Dort, J-Dub, and J-Will. And, I mean, I like J-Will, and I'm just going, once again, we're 7-0 when Aaron Wiggins starts. 6-0 last night, or 6-0 until last night, 7-0, and he doesn't start. I It's becoming comical. I mean, because I've been on this from the very beginning. Dude, when you're blowing teams out and you've got a good starting lineup and you win 6 out of 8 games, you don't change anything. If it ain't broke, why are you trying to fix it? Why are you trying to sub? Why are you trying to do a bunch of things? I don't understand it. Plus, Jay Will, I like him a lot. And he is Drew's favorite guy from Arkansas. But he's a G League player. You're starting a G League player. A guy who averages 8 to 10, 12 minutes a game, you're starting him. I don't understand. I just don't understand it. I really don't. I wish they could explain it to me because I just don't get it. I mean, to me, you're a two-way G League player. You come off the bench and you play. You don't start. You don't. You don't start. You come off the bench. And yes, he played great last night. That's fine. But why would you change anything when you blew a team out? I just, I, it's just amazing to me. I don't get it. I really, really don't get it. Now, the only reason why you would start him is because he's a big guy, but you have Baisley. Baisley didn't play at all. And this is when he normally steps up. If Poku is not starting, if Baisley starts, he does pretty well. He's tall, but he just, I mean, you're elected to take Jay Will, and like I said last night, I'm gonna take Jay Will over him, but play Jay Will all the time. Then put Baisley down. Don't let J Dub play down or Jay Will play down here, and then you bring him up. That just makes zero sense to me. Anyway, start the game out. The Thunder just didn't seem engaged. I mean, they did, but they didn't. SGA came back. He sat last night, which I said on the After the Storm show last night, and on the Unpopular Hour today. I was like, what a great move by the coaching staff because clearly Boston was not ready for that. Uh, Whereas Orlando, we score a lot inside. I mean, that's what we do because SGA likes to get to the paint. We drive to the basket, and that's when we're our deadliest is when we're scoring points in the paint and then kicking it out, shooting wide open threes when it's available. But we are great when we shoot the ball in the paint. That's when we're having tons of points to paint. That's where we're good. Uh, but it looks the opposite of last night. I mean, Orlando was all over us. We were just trying to figure out. We were trying to get in and fit in. We're that's what it seemed like last night or tonight. It really did. It was very frustrating. Uh, and then once again, SGA ended up with 11 points in the first quarter, which we've become accustomed to. He leads the league in 3 point shot, or 3 point, or excuse me, leads the league in first quarter points, averaging a little over 10 points in the first quarter because we know he plays the whole first quarter, does not play. But the last, depending on what the coach wants to do, whether it's 6 minutes, 5 minutes, four, whatever he decides to put him in, because he's managing minutes, not the game, clearly. But anyway, I just uh, the Magic when they only dressed nine. Okay, they only dressed nine, and they all scored, and they all were playing. I just don't. The, our coaching staff is just. It's. I just don't understand what they're doing. I wish they could sit down and not talk to me about it, but explain it to me. Explain how you're undefeated with this lineup and you don't play it every week, every day. You're 16 and 22. We've lost what? Two out of our last four because we had won two in a row. So two out of our last four. I just three out of our last five, whatever it is. I just don't. I just don't understand. I really don't. I mean, I want to win. And if I'm going to win, I'm going to put the best group out there to try to win the game. That's what I'm going to do as a coach. I'm going to put the best group out there. So, but anyway, we couldn't do it. And the Thunder uh, was just, I mean, we stayed in the game because SJ is basically on the court keeping us in the game. Everybody else was playing, but you could just see they had a hangover from how great and magnificent they looked against the Celtics last night. And this is the lowly Magic, not the Celtics. But at the same time, doesn't matter. You got to play. You got to be ready mentally. But when you are the youngest team in the league, it does mentally mess with you a little bit because you were magnificent. Oh, I was dominant last night against the Celtics. Oh man, we got to play the Magic. It's just natural, but you still got to think about it. You got to figure it out. So here we are. Here's the stats for the first quarter. Magic 31-28 over the Thunder. Magic 3 from 9 from 3, 50% from the field, 16 rebounds, 16 pips. That's just ugly right there. 5 turnovers. Oklahoma City 3 for 8, 40% from the field, 6 rebounds, 10 pips, points in the paint. They outdid us 16-10, which is not bad. I mean, it should be better, but SGA was 7 for what was he 7 for 8 or 7 for 7 from the free throw line, and so with 11 points, but only 2 turnovers, so we were taking care of the basketball. But once again, shooting only 40%, 3 for 8 from 3 point line, and then being outscored 12-6 in bench points, which we've just got to get that up. We cannot be. We have to score more than that. I mean, we just especially when you know, we've got, Trey Man and Isaiah Joe were so magnificent last night, both scoring over 20. I mean, it just both played really well, but we needed them to do that again tonight, and it just did not happen. So, starting the second quarter, you've got Josh, K. Will, Dort, Trey Man, and Wiggins. So Wiggins is starting the second quarter. Here, that's messed up. Let me fix that. Wow, I don't know what's wrong with my camera. Ace, there we go. Let's get that fixed. I'm sorry about that. Anyway, Ace is down there doing his thing. Uh, but anyway, we started. That's what we started it with, and we just looked slow. We really did. Defensively, we did not look on point. We just looked slow. We didn't look like we were ready. And on the top of that, uh, I just we just gave them too many open looks. We really did. We just got you can't just allow them to shoot wide open shots. No matter how bad they are, they're still an NBA team and they still can shoot the ball. So you gotta be cognizant of that. But they were killing us on the boards. I mean, we just could not get rebounds, but we are small. We are little. And without Poku in there to kind of help out with the boards, we're hard to deal with. SGA was not in the game. I mean, we're down, and SGA we're down 14 with 4 minutes to go until they finally put him back in or put him in the game. I'm just going, bro. I don't understand. Anyway, we'll talk about the fourth quarter, how he started him in the fourth quarter. Dude, stay in a rhythm. Get into what your rhythm is. Let everybody know this is when you come in, so you'll kind of know when you're going to come in and when you're going to play. It's very hard. But SGA was not in the game. Was not in the game until the 4 minute mark. We were down 14, cut it to 10, and then they went on a 7-0 run at the end of the second quarter and just closed the door on us. And it's just hard for me to do games like this and to break them down because you know to me it's a really short reason. All right, this is what happened, but in order to make this worth even doing or listening to for you to kind of explain, I mean, to me it was short. We were going to play it off this. We played our best game ever. Everybody was scoring. You knew that everybody was going to have a hangover. We were flying. We left at the middle of the night. You left earlier. You got there in the middle of the night. It's just like when we played Iowa State. We should kill them, and we did. We played them second time, but we didn't get the Ames until 3:30 in the morning. We had to be up at 7. We were out of sync. I mean, we just played terrible, and that's what young teams do. You play terrible. It's just how it works. Even if you're a veteran team, it's hard to get over that because you just played one of your best games ever against a team that you were mentally ready to play against, whom you had lost to earlier and you should have won, and you felt that way, and you come back and you play, and we just all fell apart. And it was very, very frustrating for that. So, but the Magic ended up closing us out 7-0. We just didn't play. We just weren't ready to play. We looked slow. We couldn't get out. We couldn't defend. We couldn't stop them from driving to the basket. We couldn't grab rebounds. We couldn't make open shots. It's just who we were tonight. It was just very frustrating to watch, and I'm sure it was frustrating for those guys because they're the ones who were playing in it. So I'm sure it was very frustrating. So at halftime, here is the score: 70-53. Of course, the Thunder are losing, and what was it last night? 74-54, I believe, last night. So it was almost really a a reversal, a look in the mirror of exactly what happened last night. Except they scored 4 less points, and we scored 1 less points than last night's score at halftime. Magic were 6 for 16 from three, which is decent for us. That's decent defense. I mean, it's not great, but it's decent. They're shooting 56% from the field, 30 rebounds, 36 pips, points in the paint with 8 turnovers. Oklahoma City, we were 8 for 21, which once again is not too bad. It's not great. 30, 37% or something like that. So it's not bad, but, we still got to knock down shots. And you look at field goal percentage, we're shooting 34%. And let's face it, if we weren't knocking down those threes, we would have been in a lot of trouble. So that's really what saved us in that second quarter. 17 rebounds, getting out rebounded by 13, giving them second shots was really hard. But once again, we are small. They are big. 16 pips. So look at that. I can't even remember what last time we got our score by 20 points. With points in the paint. I don't know when that was. But only 6 turnovers, so we were taking care of the basketball. We just couldn't make shots. Missing layup after layup, mid-range shot after mid-range shot. It was very frustrating uh, to watch, and it was just hard for me. But anyway, the Magic outscored us on the bench, scoring 30-16 because of all of our players. J Dub should be coming off the bench once again, but of course, with injuries or whatever, he started. Jay Will should be coming off the bench, but then last night, you had Trey Mann killing him, you had Isaiah Joe killing him, and let's face it, Isaiah Joe in the second quarter, knocking down those shots made a huge difference. He knocked down some huge threes to get us back into the game, but once again, we couldn't stop them defensively. And they go on a 7-0 run. You cut it to 10, then boom, 17-0 run. Bam, just like that. It was a hard game for me to watch because I understand and the way that the game is played. I understand all the nuances of how things are done. But on the other side of that, it's just it's hard for me to sit there and try to explain it all to y'all, and I'm doing it the best of my knowledge, but it's just hard because it's different when the game is closer and I can kind of uh, give you some insight on different things. But it was like this. This is just the way it was. And that's why we were down. And that's why we got beat. And this is not going to be a long show because you watched it with your own eyes. You could tell we just were not there mentally tonight. So, that being said, this is our sponsors. I want to thank these guys, Collaborative Logic, for their sponsorship. Also, SRB and my guy Mark Long, Oak Grove Trucking, my guy Jose Fierro, Greg and Max Nafee, the way that they always take care of me and support anything I do. I appreciate NAFCO. Last but not least, YNB, family owned and operated since 1912. They are the bank that makes things happen. They are an equal housing lender, a member the member of the FDIC. If you want to pre-qualify online for a loan, please go do that at www.ynbok.com. That's www.ynbok.com. Then you can go in and see Carson Wright, Nathan Taylor, Joe Horn, or Kent Hess if he's available. And hey, here, guy, you're already done. Here's the paperwork. Sign your name. Boom. Here you go. Here's your check. Or they could just deposit it into your account if they are your bank, like with me. Like if I had to go get a loan, I just talk to them about it. Boom, boom, boom. Sign my name. They deposit the check into the bank. And then they're also a sponsor of our remote live streams for women, minority, and black-owned businesses. And I appreciate YNB and everything they do for us in that aspect of it. So, starting the third quarter, we have SGA, Dort, Josh, J. Will, and J. Dub. Same starting five. You know me, I like that. And then on the other side of that, remember, we are the number one team in the NBA third quarter differential. So I'm thinking, okay, this is when you make it up. This is when you get ahead. And you can see that we scored 28 points the first quarter, 25 the second quarter. We didn't even get to 30 points. And then, of course, in the third quarter, we end up scoring 35. But it just reminded me of a thing. I got on my note here. It says, are we the Celtics? And we're not the Celtics because the Celtics just mailed it in. They tried to fight a little bit early in the third quarter, but they mailed it in. They were done. Marcus Smart, like, I'm out of here. 111-88. He's like, I'm done. I'm not even trying to stay out here with this. And if they hadn't been for their other two stars, they probably would have been worse than what we did. But the Thunder is one of those teams that we don't give up. We play hard. We're young, so we have no other way but to do is to play hard. And I like what we do. I like our team. I like how we focus and do that. So it was exciting to watch our team do that. And so, because there's no give up in us. And if you followed us and if you've been watching the Thunder, you know it's no give up in these guys. They play hard. They try to stay in the games. They're not making shots, but they still are not going to give up. Teams may be scoring on them, but they're not going to give up. But the thing is this, is that you can't get back in the game taking bad, just shooting threes. You got to still play in this scheme of the offense. You still have to take the shots when they're available. But when we're knocking down shots, it's off the defensive end. It's off turnovers. It's us getting out and running in transition, making baskets, and then once you get into the flow of the game, then it's a lot easier to knock down threes, which is exactly what was happening with the Thunder. So we ended up cutting it to 76-89. Okay, and you had Muscala, SGA, Trey Mann, Lindy Waters, and Isaiah Joe. That's who you had in the game. And, so you got your shooters in there. You got Muscala, and you got Mann, you've got Joe, and you got Waters. So you got your you got your 3-point shooters out there. So you should be able to generate and get back in. And the Thunder kind of did that, cut the lead down to 7. So, uh, you know, knocking down shots and things, even though Lindy didn't score until the end when threes didn't matter. But still, you got him out there and he's at least drawing attention, which allows SGA and Josh to maneuver more and open up one because he's going to tie up a guy. Isaiah Joe can create his own shot. Muscala's going to tie up a guy because they know they can't afford to leave him because once they did, Joe knocked down a shot and Muscala knocked down a couple threes to keep it close. So at the end of the third quarter, I was really happy from what I had saw. It's like, okay, the Thunder are doing what Thunder does. They got us back into the game. We're only down by 7. Remember, we were down 17. And so that was a 10-point differential, which is what we do in the third quarter. The third quarter is the Thunder quarter. And we cut it down 35-25 in that quarter. Great job by our defense. And remember, when we can get out in transition and get into the flow of the game, that helps. And then SGA, you can see Muscala's struggle last night because if you have been watching the show after the storm and me breaking down Muscala and SGA does a great job of attacking Muscala's man. Muscala's man comes over, boom, he kicks it to Muscala. If he's wide open, he's deadly. If a guy's running at him or trying to be closer to him, his shot doesn't, it's not as pure. So if Josh can kind of see that and see how SGA does that when SGA is not in the game, Muscala is, or Joe, if they can see how that's played, that's going to really help them, help Muscala, and will help us for him to get easy baskets because he is our best shooting big man, and he can stroke it when he's wide open. So if we can just get him more open looks, which is what SGA does, or what SGA has figured out about Muscala, it helps tremendously get that done. So here are our third quarter stats, Ace. Here are our third quarter stats. The Magic up 95-88, 10 for 27 from 3, so we guarded them a little bit better. They're shooting 50% from the field, 37 rebounds, 38 pips, 12 turnovers. And that's how we got out. We got a couple key turnovers, which got us out in transition, which allowed us to make some shots to get us back in the game. Oklahoma City 13 for 30. Once again, not too bad from 3, and that's what kept us in because, we were getting wide open looks, and that was Joe and Muscala getting those wide open looks. I think even Josh knocked down one. So, you get wide open looks. It makes it a lot easier to shoot the ball, especially when you are in rhythm. It makes it tons easier. Thunder out-rebounded by 9, 37-28. And the points in the paint, we were getting killed, 38-20. But once again, turnovers, 12-6. And remember, we are tops in the NBA of turning up opposing teams over, which for us to be 28th and giving up 28th in points allowed, because I think we're at 115 and we average 115 and we give up 116. So we have to really fix that. But bench scoring, you can see where the Thunder, Muscala, Joe, they came up. Remember, they were killing us in threes or at bench scoring at the half, and look what happened. Got back up and bench scoring because Muscala, Joe got us back in the game. So I liked what I was seeing at that point. So to start the fourth quarter, you had SGA, which I'm going, what are you doing? But he got a roll in there. He's thinking, okay, we're down 7, let's keep it up. And I'm like, no, do what you normally do. Keep your guys coming in. Have Josh get in there and start. But we started SGA, Joe, Isaiah Joe, Muscala, Trey Mann, and Lindy Waters, which was what you basically ended the third quarter with. And I'm going, it's just, I'm at a loss for words right now because I'm like, okay, that's what you ended it We've got to put in your next group in there, and then let's move on and let this other group kind of get in the groove. Keep SGA out for 5 or 6 minutes or so. Put him in back in with about 8 minutes to go or 7 minutes to go. Boom, we're ready to let's go. But no, that's not what he does. That's just not what he does. And but anyway, we kept the game close. You had it was 90, excuse me, to 100 with 9 minutes and 20 seconds to go. You had Josh, Dort, J Dub, Kendricks Williams, and Wiggins. And once again, you started a G League player over one of your starters, or one of the guys who starts for you. I understand they closed out the third quarter, but one of the things that the coaching, what experience will tell you, is that you've got to switch it up. Those guys made a run, boom, you get them out, you start a new group, you keep SJ out for 3 to 4 minutes, then you play him longer in the fourth quarter. You don't start him in the fourth quarter, which you never do, and then you bring him back in. That's what you do. You sit him, you get another group out there, you've got Josh, like I would have started Josh, Dort, J Dub, K Will, and Wiggins. That would have been my starters for the fourth quarter. Let's start them and let them roll. Let's go. That's what I would have done. But no, you bring them in down 10. I, I would have started that group and see where we went. But you bring SGA back in, it's 98 to 110 with 5 minutes and 39 seconds to go. So I'm thinking you got SGA, Josh, Dort, K Will, and J Dub. Okay. So you basically replaced Isaiah Joe with SGA. Good deal. But the thing is this, okay, now shot selection, okay, and then getting some stops on the defensive end. That's what you need to do to get in the game. Shot selection, which means understanding what your game is, understanding what you can and cannot do with your basketball skill set. Once you know that, then it's easier to figure out what my shot selection is. Give SJ the ball, let him work, let him collapse. You cut to the basket, he can feed you, or you sit there wide open for the three if if you're open. That's what you do. Okay? Kendricks Williams played great tonight. He's knocking down the three. Hey, Kendrick, get up there and find the 3 point line. Get out there so we can hit you and let you do the work. That's what should have happened. It did not overall. But once again, the Thunder got it to within 8, 105, 113. And you had Isaiah Joe, Josh, SGA, and Mike Muscala out there with Dort. So Dort, they consider him a 3 point shooter. I don't. I think you have Isaiah Joe and Muscala as your shooters. And, the Thunder were right there, but we just could not get stops. Carroll just killed us. We had no answer for him. Once again, what are two things the Thunder need? We need shooters, and we need some height and some stuff inside. Jay Will uh, from Arkansas is plays hard. He's a poor man's Dennis Rodman. That's what my guy Drew Henthorne of HuskerDrewPicks.com calls him, and that's what he is. He plays hard. He plays reckless abandon. But should he start? No. Should he come off the bench and give you minutes? Yes. You have a guy who's 7-0 at starting, and you don't start. I don't. Here are the end of the game stats. Final score. Celtics. Excuse me. Why do I have the Celtics in there? Oh, I didn't even do my end of game score. I'm sorry about that, everyone. That just makes no sense. Here's the Thunder box score for the game, which is what I should have had up there. I obviously clearly did not put the final score in there, which I should have. And but here are the final stats on the box score, and the I will have the final thing up there, the end of game, and you can see what the Thunder were doing, how they were playing, and what all happened with us. Uh, as far as the deal, Jay Will 3 points, and he got hurt. Remember in the game you were watching, he went 1 for 4 with only 2 rebounds. J Dub 4 points, 2 for 8, 0 for 1 from three with 3 rebounds and 4 assists. SGA 33, just doing what he did. But remember, whatever I've been saying all along, that J Dub needs to score at least 10, have double-digit field goals for us to do some stuff. Double-digit field goals is what he has to have. 0 from 1 from 3. And why is Josh in there? Josh he made at least 1 3, I believe. Let me check the score. Josh was 2 for 7 from 3. Yeah, I knew that's right. He was 2 for 7 for 3. I don't know why that's in there. 2 for 7 for 3. Lou Dort, 13 points, 3 for 11. 3 for 6 from 3, 5 rebounds. Lindy Waters, 6 points. He made both his threes in the final seconds when the game doesn't matter, but he did have 6 points. But Lindy, we need you to make him when the game is on the line, when it counts, like you do in the G League. We need you to do that when you're playing up. Kendrick Williams, 12 points, 5 for 7, 3 for 4. Got to have him playing like this. He's had 3 good games, like what I see in Kendrick. Still not that big of a fan of him, but he's playing well. 3 for 4 from 3, 9 rebounds. That's what I was saying earlier. You got him in the game. SGA drives, they draw off. Boom, he's knocking down shots. He's getting hot, and that's the one thing SGA is going to have to do. Recognize who's knocking down threes and get them the ball, attack the basket towards them so their man kicks off and gives them a chance to get wide open looks. Muscala, 11 points, 3 for 4 from the field, which means he was 3 for 4 from 3, only 2 rebounds. Trey Mann, 2 points. Man, he's just up and down. 1 for 5 and 0 for 2. Isaiah Joe, 13 points, 3 for 6 from the field. Of course, there were all threes. And then the one free throw that he made. Wiggins, 2 points, 1 for 3 from the field. And when I look at the number of minutes, Wiggins played 10 minutes. Lindy Waters played 12 minutes. He played 10 minutes. He's 7-0 as a starter. He played 2 less minutes than you had a G League player playing. Once again, our coach manages minutes, not the game. It's just very, very, very frustrating. And my guy Randy Wright at YMB is just, done with him. Has been done with him for a while. I've been trying to give him some love, but the more I get frustrated because he is Mr. Sorry, I'm gonna have to fix that with my camera, but I'll do that when we play again, the Thunder, in our next game. So let me see. When do we play again? The Thunder. Okay, we play again Friday night home game, and then we have Dallas home game. So we play the Wizards, and we turn around and we play the Mavericks Friday and Sunday. So Sunday for sure I'll be at the game. Friday I have to work, so I will not be there, but I'll be there in spirit. Anyway, I want to thank everybody for watching this edition of After the Storm. Hope it helped you. It's just hard for me, like I said, when games are like this. It's very short for me. I could have just summed this up in 5 minutes. Even I was trying to stretch it out, trying to give you some insight to whatever. But basically, what happened was Thunder was still looking at what they did last night. We're the youngest team in the league, which means what? It's hard to bounce back, getting to arriving at location 3 in the morning. Third thing, SGA coming back is just understanding what our identity is. They're going to take away what we do well. That's stay in the paint. But like my coach once always told me, if you do what you do and you do it really well, even though they know it's coming, they can't stop it. Just like back in the day in the Packers, everybody knew they were going to run the sweep. And they ran it anyway. 5 championships in 7 years, the only team still to win it 3 in a row. So all I can say is, what you do what you do well, no matter what. We were arguing the other night at Cats with one of my guys. I said, listen, all great NBA players know how to do one thing: get to their spot. It doesn't matter what defense it is, they're going to get to their spot. KD, what is he? He's going to get you going. Like, he's going to attack the basket. He's going to pull up and shot. He's going to get to his spot. Those are the things that you have to do. You have to get to your spot. So that sums up the game to me in a nutshell. We just were not mentally there because we are the youngest team in the NBA. But everybody go out Friday, give us some support, because what? They will be able to get back tonight, get some rest, do the shoot around tomorrow, get some rest in their own beds, and be ready to go Friday and Sunday. So it's going to be a fantastic week. We should be able to handle the Wizards on Friday, even though it was a great game against this. SGA had to bail us out with the last second shot. to beat them in Washington. And so we'll see them on Friday, and then on on Sunday, the Mavericks and the main man, Luca, who is just he's just ridiculous. I mean, he is. But all games between us and them are always close. We play them really, really well, and hopefully we can get a W. And I think that we can. So that being said, everybody have a fantastic night out there tonight.